When you don't hit a ball solid, would you more often hit fat or thin? We all do both, but do you do one of those in your memory more than another?
Yeah, probably more thin.
Okay, like what I'm seeing now.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you do hit a ball solid, but for some reason you did not hit the green, would you more often miss that solid strike that miss it more often left or right?
Right.
Okay.
And there's that balance thing I was talking about. Just not present.
Randy, the first ball problem we addressed was your tendency to hit too many shots thin. I talked about how the main cause of that is our failure to control the low point of our golf swing, and that the low point drifts and gets behind the golf ball instead of staying in front of the golf ball. You have to have the low point of your swing in front of the golf ball in order to hit it solid. I'm going to compare your swing to a PGA Tour player, Brian Smock. On the left was your swing before we started making some adjustments. And I've drawn a red box from the center of your ankles to the top of the head. The average pro will have 85 to 90% of their weight on their left foot at impact. And you can certainly see how the red line off of Brian's left foot is passing right through his belt buckle. So he definitely has the majority of his weight on top of his left foot at impact. And you have your center of weight more in the center of the box and you're kind of falling backwards. So one of the things that we need to do is get that low point up to the front. And the two ways that players do that is they get their weight forward and their hands forward so that we have shaft lean. Brian has his shaft leaning. His hands are in front of the golf ball when he makes contact. And you have a little tendency to be vertical or even slightly behind the ball. So your tendency is to kind of hit up into the golf ball even though the ball's on the ground and Brian is hitting down. It's interesting to see here. You'd already hit several shots in this space and we don't see any divots. You had hit multiple shots from this location, but you just swept and picked every one of them. And you can see how Brian has a lot of divots in his hitting location. Every pro is taking divots. They're hitting the ball and then the ground. Your impact position is a product of all the swing movements you made prior to impact. So we're going to take a look at some of those other positions from start to impact. Here you are in the starting position, and you can see how Brian almost has a little mini impact position to begin with. His weight is about 55% on his left foot and 45% on his right foot at the beginning. So he's already building that feeling of getting into that left side at impact. Now, one of the things I do like that you're doing, and so is Brian, is that he starts out with the shaft lean and his hands are in front of the ball at address, and so are yours. So you're right here, and you have your hands in front of the golf ball. So that's very good. We might just try to preset a little more weight on that left side, and doesn't have to be a lot, just a hint more on your left side. Just kind of bump that left hip a little bit. Here you are in the 3 position. This is when the left arm is parallel to the ground in the backswing. I do like the fact that you didn't really sway in your backswing. You kind of stayed where you started. You don't have as much weight on your left foot in the 3 position as Brian does, but you didn't significantly move more to the right in your initial backswing. So that's good. I do like the fact that you have a good right angle here with the shaft and the club, just like Brian does. So you're loading your hands very well. We're now going to move to the top of the backswing. I'm going to move Brian first. Has his head right on top of that foot, and he keeps it there. And as he completes his backswing and starts his downswing, that head never moved from that corner of that box. As we take you back, you do make an interesting move during the transition from completing your backswing to the downswing. Your head stays pretty stationary now, but then you make this, you start actually falling to the right foot right there. In your initial move in your downswing, in that little transition, you make that little move to the right side, almost as if you are wanting to hit up on the golf ball, trying to get more behind the ball so you can swing up into it. You have to be hitting down into the golf ball when it's on the ground. So this little transition move is going to be problematic at impact, and it's going to be a contributing factor to hitting a lot of thin shots. We're now going to continue down to the 5 position. This is when the left arm is parallel to the ground on the downswing. So let's talk about some things that you're doing really well here. Like Brian, you've created a nice angle in your shaft and left arm. So that's a good power angle right there. I like that a lot. The other thing I want to look at, you can see how Brian is continuing to drive that left side, left knee. He's leaning even more towards the target in that downswing. Now, after you made your initial upper body move to the right, you then do start to move your left hip, that's good, to the target. You're kind of bumping forward. So you are making the move to the left side, but you're never going to get far enough to the left side at impact because you started so far away from the left side in your backswing. So as you continue down, here we are in the 6th position. And again, if we just go back and forth from these 2 positions, your upper body is doing some activity. I like the fact that your right elbow, that's a very good piece right there. I like the fact that your right elbow is tucked into your side. That's very good. But the lower body really isn't increasing any more weight shift to the left side. So you're basically have stabilized your legs at this point in the swing, and you're just going to wherever your low point is right now is where you're going to hit from, and that low point is behind the golf ball right now. And so you're going to either swing very level into the ball or even slightly up into the golf ball, and that will prevent a solid strike of the golf ball. As I take you down to impact, you're going to hit a very thin shot. As I take Brian down to impact, he's covering the ball, as we call it. He's right on top of that ball, and he's hitting the ground. You can see the dirt fly up there. Nice extension here. Let's look at your extension. You can see how Brian has this left arm fully extended, right arm fully extended, hitting down and through. You're starting to buckle the elbows. Brian has his elbows very close to each other, and your elbows are starting to separate a little bit here. You can see how that left elbow is kind of what we used to call chicken winging, and you're kind of cupping that left wrist a little bit. What's going on here in this left wrist is an issue, and I think we talked about this and worked on this a little bit toward the end of the session. And Brian has that nice extension. Elbows are still very close together. When Brian gets to the 8th position, this is when the right arm is parallel to the ground. His white glove of his left hand is underneath the right hand. So he's crossed those wrists, getting ready to rehinge upward. And your left hand, your white glove is above your right hand. So you haven't moved your wrists and hands and arms in the correct way in order to facilitate the correct rehinging of the club. Here's two more PGA players in the impact position. It's Grant Waite on the right and Tiger Woods on the left. Tiger has been known to say that he thought that Grant Waite had the best swing in golf. But you can see how they're both on top of that left foot. That red line is going right through the center of their body. So they strongly getting into the left side at impact when the ball is on the ground. Here they are in the post-impact position, the 8th position, and again, they look like Brian Smock as well. Grant and Tiger both have their wrists crossed, and the left hand is underneath the right hand, and they keep their elbows close to each other. Randy, this is you in the 7th position after we did some adjusting to your weight shift. You can see on the left was before we started working how you were hanging back. You did not have much of your weight on top of your left side. And on the right was after we started working on this. And you can certainly see how that red line coming off your left foot is passing much closer to your belt buckle. You can see how your right shoulder is much further away from your right foot, from the red line of the right foot. So very good improvement there. You definitely started hitting the ground more often. So continue working on this and build that fundamental so it becomes comfortable, and your consistency will go way up.
Oh, yeah. Let's narrow your stance just slightly. You're almost too wide for our 8-iron.
Okay.
Let's keep working with that.
Okay. Flying left and right. Kind of like that.
Yep, bring it back and swing it. And you're going to randomly hit good shots and you randomly hit bad shots, but you're going to enjoy the good shots more. And they'll come out. We already know they will. You also weren't losing your balance in those 15 shots.
That's true.
That's the one I want right there.
I can do that. And on the backyard, I mean, I'm here checking position.
Yep.
Do I need to do? Then I come back and then I go a little bit further and check a position and don't do that.
You are a good enough athlete that you just need to say to your subconscious partner, I trust you to be able to, you're a pretty good athlete. You're going to figure out a way of moving the body. I want the ball to go there. Figure something out, okay? and it has.
Okay.
You said, I've given you a lot of tools. I've worked for, how long you been playing golf? 20 years?
Oh, no. This is six years now.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a very strong sound.
Okay.
So we're going to have some fun now with the driver. And we're just going to see, we're basically testing the ability of your partner.
Okay.
That's what we're testing.
Okay. I like that.
So we're getting out of the way. It's the partner, I'm just going to get out of your way for a few swings and see what you come up with.
Okay.
Now, if there's a particular pattern that I see you struggling with, then I'm going to have to consciously get in there and try to fix it.
Okay.
I'm going to have to open the hood and get in there.
Just a little tweak
But
there.
I don't know that there's anything wrong right now
Okay.
because I haven't let you hit without me.
Okay.
I'm now going to let you. I'm going to let you hit without me and
Okay.
see what you come up with.
Okay.
Because maybe I'm not helping. You can kind of put little memory markers on what you reflect on, but you're not going to necessarily try to make that happen. You're just observer right now.
Okay.
But you're observing feelings, not mechanics.
Yeah. Okay.
Then you do that.
No, that was pretty,
Now you probably
no, I was right smack in the middle.
Yeah. This no thanks swing was preceded with the drills on not being deliberate in our backswing. The deliberation, the over deliberation in our backswing. Because all of those 15 shots had two things in common. Two things were different from the swing prior to the drills.
Okay.
It wasn't that deliberate, slow takeaway with a long pause. It was a swing back, swing through swing.
Right.
And we didn't think about it. This is found a nice on routine. That's a good struck ball there. The wrist joints are multi-directional joints. I can bend them up and down, and I can bend them back and forth.
Okay.
Which way do you think they should bend in golf?
Probably up and down.
That is correct. Most people say back and forth because that's the direction I want to hit it.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but you can't hit it very hard if you go back and forth.
Right.
The correct thing is here, we just don't do it in this location. We do it in the rope here, up and down.
Okay.
But we also need a rehinge on the other side that's equal to this.
Okay.
So my toe is up, I'm hinging up, and I'm hinging up on this side. Hinge up, hinge up. Now I'm not coming down in here and cupping this way. That's the other way of wrist break. I don't want to do that way. What allows me to hinge upward, whether I'm hinging upward here or hinging upward here, is that the tops of my wrists are facing upward. So I'm hinging upward. If I'm going to hinge upward on this side, I've got to get my hands in position to facilitate that. So if my hands are right in front of my chest, and I can hinge up without any strain or any difficulty. My chest is pointing that way. Oh, I'll do it here. Oh, my chest is pointing that way. My hands are right there. So the hinging up here can occur correctly when we turn. Because it's basically doing the same thing here. We don't want to get in here and cause this. The reason I'm saying it, I looked at your video we did back in 2011.
Okay.
Before I came, I wanted to look at that.
Oh, okay.
Your practice swing had this kind of rehinge, where this hand was underneath your other hand, correctly,
Okay.
on the practice swing.
Okay.
But the ball swing, it was this.
Okay.
You chicken wing and you did not rehinge.
Okay.
So I want you to just take that driver and feel the rehinge, the club head going up. So you have a right angle with your left arm and shaft, and you're going to have a right angle on this side with your left arm and shaft. Pointing the club down to the ground, pointing the club down to the ground, or you can do that again. Oh yeah. Now does that awareness make you think you're doing it actually a little more enhanced now than you are with the ball?
Yeah, absolutely.
So do this back and forth and feel. You can almost watch my left hand, how quickly it flips over right there. Thumb up. So it's almost like thumb up, thumb up. A lot of speed in that little move too, without a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Reflect and let me know if you felt the same thing when there was no ball there. Close?
Yep, close.
Good.
We're trying to
So
control
we're just
it.
going to try to have that nice little relaxed whip. Okay? Very good.
That's feeling. That's a whole lot different feel. That's about half the swing.
That's just
Yeah,
exploding off the face.
Exactly. Oh, no. Oh, smokes. That's huge.
That is huge.
Yeah.